Welcome to WikiPodcast. Today we're stepping into the mind of a philosopher whose ideas are like a lightning bolt, challenging everything you thought you knew about morality, truth, and what it means to be human. We're talking about Friedrich Nietzsche, a brilliant and often misunderstood figure who dared to ask questions so profound they still echo through our world today. Imagine a young man, extraordinarily gifted, but burdened by ill health and a profound sense of isolation. That was Friedrich Nietzsche. Born in a small German village in 1844, he grew up in a world steeped in traditional values and Christian morality. But even from a young age, Nietzsche possessed an unsettling curiosity, a feeling that there was something deeper, something more authentic, beneath the comfortable surface of everyday beliefs. He started as a classical philologist, studying ancient Greek and Roman texts. But his restless spirit quickly found the academic world too stifling, too constrained by old ideas. He began to see the very foundations of Western thought, the concepts of good and evil, of truth and falsehood, as not being eternal truths, but rather as human constructs, built up over centuries, often to serve the interests of the weak or to suppress the strong. This radical questioning culminated in one of his most famous and provocative works, Beyond Good and Evil, published in 1886. This wasn't just a book, it was an intellectual earthquake. Nietzsche wasn't interested in simply swapping one set of morals for another. He wanted us to critically examine the very origins of our moral values. Why do we call certain things good and others evil? What purpose do these classifications truly serve? He argued that traditional morality, especially Christian morality, had a slave morality at its core. It valued humility, pity, and obedience, qualities that he saw as originating from the weak as a way to control and subdue the powerful. In contrast, he envisioned a master morality, one that celebrated strength, nobility, and self-assertion. It wasn't about being cruel, but about the affirmation of life, about striving for excellence and creating your own values. For Nietzsche, the greatest human drive wasn't survival or happiness, but something he called the will to power. This isn't about political domination, but an internal drive to overcome oneself, to grow, to master one's own impulses, and to create something new. It's the inherent urge to become more, to actualize one's potential. This leads us to one of his most famous and often misinterpreted concepts, the Übermensch, or the overman. Forget the image of a superhero in a cape. The Übermensch isn't about physical power or genetic superiority. It's about an individual who has transcended conventional morality, who has looked beyond the old inherited notions of good and evil, and has created their own values. This person is a self-master, someone who gives meaning to their own life, who doesn't rely on external authorities or doctrines to tell them how to live or what to believe. They embrace the full spectrum of human experience, including suffering, as part of the journey of self-overcoming. But how do you truly test this self-created life? How do you know if you're genuinely living authentically and embracing your existence? Nietzsche proposed a terrifying yet ultimately liberating thought experiment known as eternal recurrence. Imagine, he said, that every single moment of your life, every joy, every sorrow, every decision, every second would repeat itself endlessly, exactly as it is, for all eternity. Would you wish for this to happen? Would you affirm your life so completely that you would willingly live it over and over again, precisely as it is, flaws and all? If you can truly embrace this idea, if you can say yes to eternal recurrence, then you have achieved the ultimate affirmation of life. You have become your own master, your own creator of meaning. Nietzsche's life ended in tragedy, consumed by mental illness in his later years. But his ideas, though often controversial and twisted by others, continue to shake the foundations of philosophy, psychology, and even our understanding of human nature. He forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our societies. He didn't offer easy answers or comforting doctrines. Instead, he challenged us to look inward, to question the unquestionable, and to take responsibility for creating our own meaning in a world where old certainties were crumbling. He implored us to live authentically, to become who we truly are, beyond good and evil. Thanks for listening. Write us your opinion in the comments on what you think about the idea of creating your own values, or challenging what society tells you is good or evil. Subscribe to the channel to help more listeners reach our episodes. Thank you, and have an amazing day.